Hello, hello. Welcome to Top Shelf Backpacking. I'm Top Shelf, joined by Dura over here today.
Hey.
We are hiking up Tillamook Head, just outside of Seaside. It is currently pouring rain and about 50 degrees. So we're gonna get after it so we can warm up and hopefully enjoy some whiskeys up at the top. We will see you along the way. We're by the ocean, close enough. Whales on trail. Trail conditions are better than we expected, probably thanks to the tree cover. It's not raining sideways like it was down there. Still a bit chilly, but once we're moving, we're warming up, stripping some layers already. And yeah, my feet are already wet and pretty darn cold. Thanks to walking through mud puddles like that are easier to get through than around.
I swear
Good times.
It's a trail, not a mud puddle.
Hiking up this creek has been real interesting.
This is the last thing you'll hear me say. I hope Top Shelf falls.
Encountered some stairs along the trail. Nothing too gnarly, just a little slippery and for sure covered in mud. That thing's about shoulder height, to be honest. Nailed it.
Got him. Whoop.
I'm from the south, the deep south. You're welcome. A special thank you to those who put up blazes for us, so we knew the way.
Now it's coming over from our bench.
Thank God he's not chewing gum. He'd be on his ass right now.
All I did was try to talk.
I thought I felt some warm air. These are usually above water to aid with traction, but today, nobody guide through the swamp. Still slightly less muddy than would be otherwise, so thank you to those that put them out here. Hard to make out here, but there's definitely ocean. Down there we can barely see the waves. Out here in the swamp, found some real bottom shelf behavior. Don't leave your trash out, because I don't want to have to come find it.
Okay.
So one time up on this trail we ran a bit low on water. The stream that's normally up here was dry. We had to kind of filter out of a puddle. So today I packed a little more water than I normally would, which is good. You know, we've been hiking in basically a stream for, I don't know, what feels like 3 miles now. So yeah, better to have more than you need, I guess, huh? So here along the Oregon coast, Lewis and Clark Trail, not unusual to be kind of fogged in. Every once in a while you get some pretty sweet views. But I tell you, there's no sweeter view than seeing some huts off in the distance that look to be uninhabited, ready for us to dry off and get drunk in. Cheers to the trail, y'all. So we made it to camp safely. I am headed down to try and fill our water bags because I am still very cold and very wet. So before we kind of get camp rolling and try and warm ourselves up inside and out, figured we might as well get some water because I know darn well I'm not going to want to fill these bags later, because hopefully there's a stream like, I don't know, a few hundred yards down from camp. But it has been pouring. Hopefully the stream's running. We may come out here, see if there's any view tonight. If the clouds break at all, you can get a pretty nice view of the Tillamook Head Lighthouse, nicknamed Terrible Tilly. But I'm not holding high hopes. And by the time that happens, who knows, we'll probably be nice and warm and probably a few whiskeys deep in our sleeping bags at that point. And we will want to stay in our nice covered camp. So pretty cold, few down trees to deal with near the end there. Some crews have definitely been out, so thank you to everybody that comes out here, trail keepers of Oregon and stuff, keeping these paths clear. That's pretty awesome of you. Can't imagine hauling crosscut saws and stuff up those steep hills, dealing with the mud and everything. So kudos, thank you, and we'll see you in a bit. Now for my bag. Get it filled up. At least this water's a bit cleaner. Really surprised it's not flowing a lot better than this. But it is what it is. At least there's water. Gonna top off my bag with his and then refill his a little bit, just so we can get a little better capacity out of here. Kind of hard to get a good flow from little creeks like this. And I want to try and limit how many times we got to come down here because it is very cold and wet. Once I get dry, I want to stay that way until we got to hit trail in the morning. Water has been collected. We got at least probably 3.5 liters here in our Knockvecto bags. Headed back to camp to actually unload, hopefully warm up a little bit, get into some dry clothes, and then get lunch boiling. And that way we can start enjoying ourselves, hopefully. It's been a bit of a rough go getting up here, but the time today should be worth it after all. So the hiker hut's up here, 3 of them. One of them kind of has a creek running through it, one's got a hole in the roof. But there is a nice little covered kind of patio. Privy over there, hopefully it's open. And before, apparently a pretty good slide at Nicola, they used to be able to come up here and service, put wood there if you requested from the park rangers for the fire pit. Probably not going to be a big fire tonight. It's supposed to be raining, and we're going to stay nice and warm in the huts. Yep, we made it to camp, changed, warm it up a little bit. And yeah, we're gonna get some lunch rolling and make a little camp. Hopefully things improve. Can't get much worse. That's not a challenge in nature. Headed up this creek we're hoping is the trail. Heavy rains all night long. The flow has drastically increased. Just a couple of down trees on the trail still that require actual traversing. Nothing like walking through soup. for 20 minutes and then climb into a jungle gym to start your day. Good work, Dara. Normally, we'd have a bit of a view at a vantage point like this. Pacific Ocean's right down there. Somehow all of the ocean is coming down from the clouds along with the wind. But I think the majority of the climb is over, so we just gotta hope we can kind of slip and slide our way down the other side into what's hopefully a nice warm truck and some dry clothes. We'll see you out there. Hello, hello. We made it back to the trailhead. It's a wet, sucky mess. Sadly, there's no overnight parking at the trailhead, so we've got a little bit of a walk back to where we parked. Did some mud skating, but managed to stay off my ass, thankfully. I think the same here for Dura. So we're gonna walk back, get changed, hopefully warm up. Made it back to the vehicle. Still cold and windy. We're soaking wet, but we made it. Another successful trip. Kinda. Future me will probably pop in here and talk about some fails, some things we probably shouldn't have done, like maybe hike at all. We'll get into that in a moment. Hello, hello. Future Top Shelf here. Wanted to talk about a few of the mistakes we made on this recent trip up Tillamook Head to the hiker huts. Let's start with some of the easier, kind of simple mistakes we made. First of all, I brought a fuel can with me. I usually refill these from a larger can using a little kind of two-way valve guy, and I pop a little black cap on the full ones so I know which ones are full, which ones may be low. Grabbed one with the cap, gave it a shake, thought, it doesn't feel quite heavy enough, but instead of just getting out my scale and checking the weight to see if indeed it had enough gas, I just threw it in the bag and went with it. It lasted until I think it made it through dinner, and I was getting ready to heat up a hot toddy, and that's when it gave out on me. Thankfully, my buddy had a nice big can, so we were just able to use his to continue heating up hot water and stuff for our meals and our drinks. So not a big deal, but a pretty easy thing to check, and I neglected to do so. So mistake number 2 was leaving my Garmin InReach Mini behind. This was not intentional. I did know that we would have some cell phone service up there pretty much the entire length of the trail, but I still like having it even if it's for the SOS purposes. It's a trail I've been on many times before, so I wasn't super worried about getting lost or anything, but with the weather situation the way it was and having someone else with me, I do prefer to always have this clipped to my pack. Even on a day hike, it's usually always with me. So mistake number 2 was leaving the Garmin InReach Mini behind. So the final mistake I want to talk about today was just being out on trail at all. The weather was said to be in the 40s, both high and low, and with a 60 to 70% chance of rain according to Apple's weather, which is the report I sent to my buddy Dura. So we knew what kind of gear to be bringing. We always expect rain. It's the Oregon coast after all, and we've had a lot of rainy times out there. Once we arrived into town that Sunday morning, it was raining nearly sideways, really coming down. The cold was annoying, but we're used to it. We knew we would warm up right away. As we began to hike up, We passed a few day hikers coming down who were commenting on how muddy it was, which is to be expected. I don't know that I've ever hiked that trail and had it not be muddy. Now, muddy trails are nothing new to us. We were fully prepared to just have soaking wet feet the entire time. The rain got worse overnight. It stormed all night long, which we were kind of anticipating. Luckily, we were in a good cabin, had very little leaks. The trouble was more so day 2 on the hike out. The trail was basically a creek. Again, this really isn't anything concerning to us. We were expecting cold, wet feet. We had car clothes and car shoes waiting for us when we got back to the trailhead. The issue really lies in the erosion and the environmental impact we were having on the trail at that point. I was trying to, whenever possible, you know, kind of plow right through, not to make the trail any wider by trying to go around. Plus you have the danger of it being kind of slippery and really easy to fall when you're on the Outer Bank part of things. But just the amount of water flow had me concerned that we were doing more damage than just leaving kind of normal footprints in a muddy bog. Add to that, my buddy Dura got a high wind alert that I was unaware of. And considering we climbed over a couple of downed trees and trail crews had come through and cut a number of downed trees so we could get by, I was a bit nervous about how much wind there was and the movement of those trees. Even though we were in cabins, I do make a habit of looking for widowmakers. Things at camp look pretty good, but it's really easy for, while it's storming overnight, things to come down and to kind of leave us stuck or having a heck of a time getting out and around things. So although it's a bit of a drive to get out there, honestly, had I had the proper information as far as what weather was coming, I probably would have called it off. We would have found a campground and had a good time sitting around a wet fire or just hanging out in the tent playing cards and enjoying some delicious whiskeys. So in hindsight, I need to get a better weather app. I need to be a little more diligent in planning, and I need to do a better job of pulling the plug when the trail conditions and the potential for hazards to us, a tree falling, is about as catastrophic as you can get, and with no in-reach mini to call for help and the potential for no cell phone signal. That was a pretty big mistake to make. So now back to past Top Shelf down at the truck, giving a little recap. Cheers. Is Top Shelf and Dura signing off, saying, may the miles you hike be filled with wonder, and the glasses you raise be filled with whiskey. Cheers.